By the time Revolver was released in 1966, the Beatles and rock and roll were at a crossroads. The Beatles now retired from touring. The Fab Four could now focus on assembling a cohesive album using the studio as an instrument. Where should I even begin? Well, I guess there's no better place to start than with the cover. It's just so hypnotic. The more you look at it, the more you'll find. It's almost like Where's Waldo, only Where's Ringo? Oh, there he is. I love the collage of photos, most of which were taken from the Rubber Soul back cover, and everything is integrated so flawlessly. And I love the illustrations of all the four Beatles on the front with all their hair connecting. It's nothing short of mid-60s psychedelic whimsy. My favorite Beatles album cover by a country mile. Sonically, the album mixes the pop rock a la Hard Day's Night and Help, and expands upon it with horns, violins, and even sitar. Right from the opening 1, 2, 3, 4, Countin' by George Harrison, and the groovy guitar chords, you know you're in for a different Beatles album. Dare I say, a Beatles trip. The opener, Taxman, a song written by George, is a seething critique of the egregious tax system in the UK at the time. Not only is this the first time a George Harrison composition would open an album, this is the first of 3 songs that he gets on the album. I just have to say it, guys, this is my favorite song on the record by far, and maybe even my favorite of their entire catalog. It's that good. I could only imagine being a record buyer in 1966, seeing the Beatles have released a new record, and expecting Drive My Car or Help, but instead you get this. Paul's solo is just excellent here and is a definite highlight on this bombastic opening track. Eleanor Rigby comes next, and this is where Revolver really starts to show its true colors. A dark and haunting track detailing the human condition. This one sung by Paul. Sir Paul McCartney. This song is one of my first memories of hearing Beatles music. Sometimes I'd have my dad make me a mixtape of Beatles tracks, and I'd listen to them on those old kid cassette players with the microphone attached to them. Anyone remember those? This is kind of embarrassing, but I used to take blank recordable tapes and sing along to the songs. And if anyone finds those in an attic somewhere, please burn them. I'm Only Sleeping comes next, and this is John's first song on the record. All John wants to do is sleep, and I can see this track as a metaphor for John wanting to escape life as a Beatle towards the tail end of Beatlemania. I love the backwards guitar that is sprinkled throughout the track. It's such a psychedelic treat. Love You Too, George's second song on the record, opened with a strum sitar. Not the first time the instrument would be used, but in my opinion, the best track that uses a sitar in Beatles history. It adds a nice spicy Indian texture to the song, making this track stand out from the rest. Here, There, and Everywhere slows the album down a little bit with a nice Paul McCartney love song. Definitely a personal fan on the album for me. I love how doo-woppy this track is, has a really nice early 60s vibe to it, and it shows that Paul McCartney has not forgotten how to write a great love song. And then we get to Yellow Submarine. I'm just gonna say it. This to me is the weakest song on the album. Don't get me wrong, I usually love Ringo, but this one has always rubbed me the wrong way. It definitely fits on the album with the trippy sounds and the calm response vocals towards the end of the track, but something about it just irks me. Thankfully though, we end side 1 on a high note. She said, she said. Lyrics such as, "You're making me feel like I'd never been born. And I know what it's like to be dead." Definitely pique your curiosity. Like, whoa. Flipping the record over, we are greeted to the bouncy and playful Good Day Sunshine. I always appreciated Paul's ability to be able to write a dark and thought-provoking song like Eleanor Rigby, and then turn around and flip the script with a track like this on the same exact album. This is just quintessential Paul McCartney, and I love it. Continuing on, Andrew Bird can sing as another highlight. Everything from those opening guitars to the whimsical bird metaphors, and John is selling at 100%. This track harkens back to the old Beatles sound just a little bit, while adding a nice psychedelic punch. Oh yeah, you guys remember when I talked about Here, There, and Everywhere? And how it's a beautiful Paul song? Yeah, well we have another Paul song. For No One. Now don't get me wrong, this track is one of my favorites on the album, but if you're not ready for it, it'll just put you in a depressing mood. Just warning you people. This is a tragic story about unhealthy codependence, told through the man's perspective, wherein the man in the relationship still has feelings for a significant other. The wife, girlfriend, it's not made quite clear. However, she's just indifferent at this point. A love that should have lasted years. That lyric really hits home for me. The man can't seem to let go, even though he knows deep down the relationship is already over. Alright, enough depression, it's Dr. Z time! Dr. Robert is inspired by a real-life doctor who ran an underground clinic in Manhattan. This is one of those classic Beatles songs on the record. If you're apprehensive about the trippy and out there new direction the guys were taking, and you're just aching for your please please me's and the like, this song is a nice way to ease you into this particular album. A nice dose of 60s pop rock. Take responsibly. I Want to Tell You is George's third and final song on the album. It's a gorgeously arranged and playful song with that piano and guitar melody. And this is as good of a time as any to bring attention to George's ever-growing talent as a songwriter in his own right, rising to the level that John and Paul had achieved on albums such as A Hard Day's Night. These three songs were the ones that really sparked a bright future for George Harrison, and as history has shown, the best was yet to come. And if you think for a minute that Revolver has played all of its cards by track 12, you would be sorely mistaken. On an album chock full of excellent tracks and powerful moments, we get another absolute classic Paul McCartney track, Got to Get You Into My Life. From the opening horns, you know you're in for a sunny time. A love letter to the green leaf disguised as a love song. Putting this track towards the end of the record was an excellent choice, especially after the depressing For No One and the insanity of I Want to Tell You. And then, after 13 tracks of an emotional roller coaster, we get the finale of Revolver, the mission statement, Tomorrow Never Knows. This track takes you on a sweet psychedelic ride. The title of the track was actually given to the song by Ringo, and it just scratches the surface of how important and influential this song is, using backwards tape loops and John's lyrics being so totally drugged out and otherworldly. Notably, this track would inspire artists such as Jimi Hendrix and The Doors. All you experienced alone is a progression of the tape loops and psychedelic wizardry of Tomorrow Never Knows. The natural progression from that early Beatles sound. And with that being said, if you haven't listened to Revolver yet, I implore you to give this album a listen, and it deserves your entire attention from front to back. This is a must-hear record for anyone who is even remotely interested in music or music history. I'd recommend the 2022 mix done by Giles Martin and Sam O'Kell. It sounds great and gives the record new life. Whew! Thank you guys so much for checking out my review of this absolutely classic album. If you want to know what I think about other Beatles releases, I'll leave a link to the videos in the description below. Make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel for more swinging content. Click the notification bell so you'll be notified when I upload a new video to the channel. And for all my fellow monks out there, don't forget to listen to Rush, and also keep meditating with vinyl.